Yo, it's good. So this is why I feel like we shouldn't label ourselves. And I just woke up, so bear with me, you know what I'm saying? I still got my morning inflammation face and all that stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? But I just wanted to get this video out because I was thinking about this while I was working, but I was also just watching this video from Daniel Mackler. If y'all know who Daniel Mackler is, check him out. You know what I'm saying? I like a lot of his content. I haven't been watching it lately, but that's Daniel Mackler right there. We basically the same person except for he's 20 years older than me. Hold up, I got a call real fast. Hold on. Hello?
Hello, is Joshua available?
This is him.
Hi, my name is Carla Guerra Alexander. I'm with Building Blocks for Business, and I'm calling in regards to your appointment at 10 a.m. To review the benefits. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. And before we
These days, I'm letting God handle all things above. The things I can't change are the reason you love me. Listen, you can hear them calling my name. I'm all over the place. I can't sit in one place. I'm not ashamed at all.
Or my bad, I had a phone call I had to take. But so we talking about labels. So it's funny because people will be like, stop labeling people or whatever the case may be. Listen, if you go through an experience, especially with a narcissist, you feel what I'm saying, or a toxic individual, if you go through any experience with a certain individual and you feel like somebody operated in a certain way and you call them what you call them, it is what it is. People like, stop diagnosing people. Obviously, you're not a doctor, you're not a therapist, you're not a psychiatrist, whatever the case may be. So you could never technically diagnose people. So I don't understand why people get, they panties in a bunch and they like, oh, you shouldn't diagnose people, da da da. You can't, bro. So what are you talking about? Like, we're just saying what we notice based off of our observation. It's just like, for example, if somebody come up to you dribbling the basketball and they like doing this all over the place, what you gonna say? Yo, this basketball player just crossed me up. This basketball player just did X, Y, and Z. You feel me? So if you have an experience, because your observation is they're playing basketball, they're dribbling, so they look like a basketball player. They showing you they're a basketball player. You feel what I'm saying? Same thing with narcissism. If somebody come up to you and they're manipulating, gaslighting, taking advantage, whatever the case may be, then you're going to call them that. Now, does that mean that you're diagnosing them? No. Could you be wrong? Yes. This person could not be a basketball player. You know what I'm saying? They could just have grabbed the basketball and they felt like being annoying, so they're dribbling in your face, or whatever. Maybe they are a football player that just so happened to pick up a basketball that day, just like this person just so happened to pick up toxic traits, or they just so happen to have narcissistic traits, or they went through a bad relationship and they gave them fleas. Like narcissistic fleas are when you deal with the individual and they almost manipulate you or cause you so much pain to the point where you start to operate like them. You feel what I'm saying? But that doesn't make you them. You feel me? So I was watching one of Daniel Mackler's videos, and this lady commented this. She said, I never thought of this before, but I used to be socially awkward, withdrawn, didn't want to be touched, had a hard time understanding people and understanding myself and my own emotions. I didn't want to be friends, avoided eye contact, and preferred to be alone. I'm not autistic, although not even close. I think I was scared. So basically, what I'm talking about labels, she identified in a sense based off of her behavior as an autistic person. It's been so many times where I analyze myself and I'm like, dang, am I autistic? You feel what I'm saying? Especially all this stuff going on TikTok and Instagram and stuff. Everybody diagnosing themselves. Everybody trying to figure out like what's wrong with them. And, people are becoming self-aware to abuse in their childhood. People are becoming self-aware to narcissism. And people are just trying to figure things out. You feel what I'm saying? But labels are important in the sense of now I know what I'm dealing with, so you can kind of ballpark what's going on and try to work on what you got going on. But at the same time, I don't feel like people should attach themselves to labels. And what I mean by that is like, technically, Not technically, I was diagnosed with scoliosis, and I went to the doctor. I remember I dated this girl. She called me a narcissist. She slandered my name. She went online, said I was abusive. Never was abusive to a female, you feel what I'm saying? But the crazy part is, at that time, she threw that label at me, and I'm going around saying like, oh my God. I remember I went to my mom and I'm like, oh my God, what if I am a narcissist? So I started doing research on narcissism, and I went to my doctor and my doctor's like, you're not a narcissist. You dated somebody that was, projecting, whatever the case may be. Then he referred me to this private practice therapist or whatever the case may be. But you see how that label automatically, I threw it on myself, and I'm like, it started my journey of working on myself. But I had a lot of things going on throughout my life, even how I used to miss a lot of social cues before I became self-aware. And I've always been an over observer, but I used to miss a lot of social cues. But I started to work on myself when this person called me that. Also, I started to notice their behaviors before the relationship was over. But I can relate to this person commenting, saying that they felt like withdrawn or socially awkward. I felt like, and another reason why I thought I was on the spectrum is because I felt like I had to put a mask on to survive. When I was in the house making YouTube videos and stuff like that, I could just be me. Like even now on the channel, I can just be me, laughy, smiley. But I felt like, one, since I was scapegoated by my family, I was operating in a certain way that was like basically causing me to get bullied because I was bullied by my own family. You feel what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm not saying woe is me. I'm just calling it for what it is. It is what it is. Then I would go outside and then I would feel like I was getting attacked by people because of how I was operating. It was like, but what's interesting is I did kind of like find a middle ground to the point where once I started to like, I'm not gonna lie, once you start to change your physique, why you think people who are autistic or have social problems or whatever the case may be normally do better when they practice jiu-jitsu, boxing, MMA and stuff like that. But once I started to grow a physique, once I started to operate a little differently, it kind of allowed me to relax some of my mask because I was a dog. I would fight you. And I appeared a certain way. Y'all might want to say I'm tripping or whatever, but the label don't matter. Like for example, if you hypothetically autistic or if you socially awkward, it don't matter sometimes if your appearance will change, because people will literally they'll switch up. Like they'll be like, I'm trying to tell you, appearance matters. How you show it matter. How you talk, all that. You know what I'm saying? But I was also changing as a person because I've always been doing personal development, trying to determine like how can I show up a little bit better. But that little goofy, how I was operating wasn't technically accepted. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody that I hung out with in the neighborhood, because once they reached that version of me, they did accept me. And everybody that's gonna be in this photo right here, I love all of them. They all was dope or whatever the case may be. But if I didn't come to them with that version of myself, you feel what I'm saying? I feel like I technically would have been in the same situation as I was when I was in elementary. You feel what I'm saying? So that's why I said don't attach yourself to that label. Work on yourself. Not per se to be accepted, but just because human beings are human beings. You feel what I'm saying? Like like it is what it is. It's just the reality of it. Especially like in Philly, if you show up and you weird type vibes, you better know how to fight, or you better know how to carry yourself, or you're gonna be a target for real. Who is this? I remember when I first went to high school, it's like, who's this smiley kid, blah blah blah. So can you imagine being like that in elementary school, and you just you don't have no boundaries because you wasn't taught that, or you used to being bullied in a sense, you feel me? So I can also identify with certain things that autistic people deal with, or I can also identify with certain things that people who have depression or anxiety or whatever the case may be. And like I said, I went to the doctors to get diagnosed. I won't say if I got diagnosed with anything, or I won't say what those were if I did. But I learned that I wasn't a narcissist, thank God. I learned that I don't have no BPD, but I learned that I have some problems and I have things to work on. But the reason why I feel like you should not attach yourself to a label is because it minimizes you. You feel what I'm saying? It's because you are not depression. You are not scoliosis. You are not anxiety. You are not autism. You are somebody who may have depression, may have anxiety. You may have scoliosis, You may have autism, but that does not minimize you. And I feel like as somebody that work on themselves, become the best version of themselves, it is important to not put yourself in a box, because you can do so many. And society, well, they'll create these labels, and then these labels have so many overlaps, and also these labels have so many different variations that you could literally read something online, or read something that somebody else said, or read something in a DSM, or read something in general, and you'll attach yourself to that and be like, oh, I only can do this because of that. Nah, think outside the box, or push your limits. So anything that I was diagnosed with, or anything that my doctor said about me, or whatever the case may be, I never wanted to know at first. I didn't know about scoliosis. I could have easily said, I'm not going to play varsity basketball. I'm not going to fight. I'm not going to be super aggressive. I'm not going to play football. I'm not going to run track. I'm not going to perform poetry in front of hundreds of people. Think about that as somebody with social anxiety and depression. You feel what I'm saying? Somebody who was... I performed poetry in front of hundreds of people and won first competition 2 years in a row. Let's talk about it. Flexing on it, you know what I mean? All because of these different labels? No. Nah, I don't like that. Now, I do think on the flip side that you should respect these labels. That you should respect that, okay, I might have this going on. So let me not put myself in a tough situation that I know I might put myself in a dangerous situation. You feel me? So it's a balance there. Don't go all the way to the left to where you danger yourself. I just want to put that out there. Me personally, I'm pushing all my limits. I wouldn't care if, you know what I'm saying, I'm one of those type of people. If they diagnose me with, whatever, I'm going to try to outdo that, or I'm going to try to change myself as much as possible. I'm going to try to push my limits. Because we never know what our potential is until we experience something that puts us in position to realize that I can do way more than they said. I can do way more than my diagnosis. I can do way more than this other person that got the same thing going on, whether they got depression, they got anxiety, or whatever the case may be. You feel what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, life is about experiencing things and also reaching your potential and growing as much as possible. I think XXXTentacion said it. He said, if you're not growing, then you're dying. It was this other philosopher that said somebody can live until they 75 and somebody can die at 35. The guy who lived till he was 35 lived in his purpose. He grinded hard and he did everything that he truly wanted to do. The guy who lived till he was 75 just fell in line and just went with the status quo and didn't push his limits and didn't, reach his potential or follow his purpose. Who lived longer? The guy who died at 35, the guy who lived till 75. The guy who died at 35 lived longer. I'm going to say that again. The guy who died at 35 lived longer because he lived. He lived for himself. He lived for himself internally. He followed his purpose. The guy who lived till 75 was a pushover. He did whatever, you know what I'm saying? He was following what everybody else wanted him to do. But basically what I'm saying is, don't attach yourself to these labels. Obviously respect your label if you get diagnosed with something or whatever the case may be, but don't allow it to suppress you. Don't allow it to make you think you are that because somebody else went through the same experience and now they can't do this or do that. You're not them. We all different. That's why my slogan is, I'm different, you different, we different. Feel what I'm saying? But I went through that thinking I'm like, dang, am I autistic? You feel what I'm saying? I went through the socially awkwardness. I went through the withdrawnness. I went through the not really the not eye contact. I'm on the flip side. I would stare you dead in your soul. Like I'm on the flip side. Now, once I learned about narcissism and learned that people can be very evil and demonic and sadistic, I kind of avoid, connecting with people on that level. So if I feel like I don't really like you, you can kind of tell. There's one guy, he's trying to get so close to me at my new job. He keep asking me, when your days off and stuff. And I just be like, my days off are this days or whatever. And he be like, I just be like, all right, I'm going to let you know. But my next step is to set that boundary. You know what I'm saying? Because growing up, I didn't have that, put that foot down. So next time he mentions it, because it's the fourth time he mentioned it, and I only been working there for 4 months, I'm going to be like, I ain't going to lie. I ain't going to hold you. I like to keep, business and pleasure separate, or I'm just gonna let him know Like, I don't really hang out with coworkers like that. You feel me? I'm not gonna be disrespectful about it, but I'm gonna let them know, because I don't like, I don't think coworkers are your friends. Like, that typically turns out bad. Sometimes people have, coworkers that become friends, but cool off of that, or whatever the case may be. That phone call is funny in the beginning of the video. Like, hold up, I got a call real fast. Hold on. Yo, who is this? I forgot I had a call coming at 10 o'clock. But it's your boy Josh Different. I'm different, you different, we different. Tune into my website, joshdifferent.com. You can work with me if you want, physically. Some personal trainer stuff, or we can talk about your childhood trauma. We could talk about becoming the best version of yourself, family dysfunction, all that. And check out my book, Definition of Perseverance, on Amazon. You know what I mean? Amazon.com, your boy on Amazon. Google me, Josh Different book, and it will come up. It'll be at the top. All right, I'm out. I just wanted to say all that. Don't attach yourself to labels. Reach your potential. Ah, la, 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 la. I'm out.